Welcome to Toy Business Unboxed, your gateway to the secrets of the toy industry. Here, Jason Shea, a toy entrepreneur and expert in the field.
Every product we develop is really inspired by some of the real life experience that we have with our son.
60% of all toys last year were sold on Amazon, which is incredible.
Be passionate about it because it's a road, it's a journey.
Like when you have an idea that you think is like gonna somewhat like change the world, make things better, I'd say go for it.
We'll guide you through the enchanting world of toy design, marketing, and manufacturing. Now let the unboxing begin.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Toy Business Unboxed. Today, we are thrilled to have Martin and Brett, the co-founder of GoChuckle, joining us. The duos have joined and turned their passion for family time into mission to bringing family together through fun, interactive games. Their first game, Hasty Baker, has not only brought joys to countless households, but also earned numerous different awards in the toy industry for its engaging gameplay. And today we're going to share the story behind the ins and outs and then the struggle and the success behind starting a game company from scratch and also publishing a game. So today's conversation will be packed with insight from breaking into the toy industry, from creating memorable game experience, and also balancing creativity with business. So thank you, both of you, to be on today's podcast today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
So can you first start out telling the audience on what was the story behind GoChuckle and what inspired you to start this game companies?
Sure. Yeah. Well, we both enjoy watching baking competition shows.
Okay.
And Brent was watching baking competition shows with his daughter, and he thought it could be a game. And so he called me up, and I'm in the tech industry. He's accounting. So we didn't know anything about making games, but
yeah,
he said, "Hey, you want to make a game out of this?" And I was like, "Yes, let's make it a business. Let's do this. This sounds like a lot of fun."
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, when it first started, it just sounded like something that would be fun to play. And so I am the furthest thing from an artist. And so I called Marty and I was like, "Hey, do you want to draw for this?" And
I'm the second furthest thing.
It's one closer than I am. And he was like, "I could, or we could just hire an illustrator and it would be better." And so I hadn't even thought of that, but then we did. And then, then we had these really great illustrations, and we started talking out the idea of the game together and kind of came up with a prototype of it. And it just sort of worked one thing into another until it became better and better and became, what it was.
And one thing I always find it very interesting is what was your process for designing and developing the game, especially the rule, because we also do a little bit of toy design, but we currently don't have a card game or board game yet. So that's one of the questions I always have in mind, is that because there's so many card games, so many board games out there, one of the things is like, how do you come up with a rule that makes sense, that's easy for the kids and family to get instantly and also engaging at the same time?
Well, the nice thing about having it themed around a baking competition is we could kind of use that and think, okay, what are some things that people can relate to in real life that you could do to interact? Because the initial idea was kind of like this baking competition where there's twists and turns that get thrown into it, and you're competing with one another. So, there's things you're doing to try to finish your dessert before the others. And so, we thought, okay, well, what kind of aspects of that could be turned into actions that you can do in the game that allow people to interact? And
Okay. And I have your product pulled up here. Let me see if I can make it the right size. So for those of you that's listening, we are also having the interview on our YouTube channel. That if you want to see what the game look like, feel free to join us on YouTube or watch the our episode on YouTube as well. So can we talk a little bit about the rule for the game? How does it work? I haven't bought one myself yet. So for the new parent like myself that's interested to maybe buy one for my family, can we walk through the basic rule on how the game works and how to play it?
Sure. So basically, each player gets their own recipe card in front of them, and a
Okay.
recipe card is going to list 4 different ingredients on it.
Okay.
So you're trying to collect those 4 ingredients in front of you to complete your recipe.
Mhm.
And once you complete your recipe, then you can set your recipe card aside. That represents a point.
Oh, okay.
And there are some cards that you can that can give you extra points, like a blue ribbon. That's
Mhm.
essentially saying the blueberry pie that you made is an outstanding blueberry pie. It's
Okay.
worth an extra point. So the
Okay.
first person to get
I
5
see.
points in their points pile wins.
I see. Do you need to make different combinations like other card game I've played in the past?
Yeah, so each recipe is a different combination of ingredients.
Okay. Okay.
So where one might be frosting, sugar, butter, and flour, and one might be chocolate, butter, flour, sugar. So they're going to be similar but slightly different. Um, and
Okay.
and then when you finish a recipe, you'll just grab a new recipe, put that in front of you. Now you're working on that one. Um,
Oh, okay.
the,
Okay.
the
Okay. So you're
twist comes
collecting
Yeah, the twist
recipe.
comes
Okay.
when there are some cards that you can, we call them strategy cards, where you
Yes.
can sabotage each other, like steal
Ah,
ingredients from each
yeah.
other or spoil
Okay.
ingredients that people have played out,
Okay.
something like that.
Mhm.
And so, like Marty was saying, you can think of in the show, it's like in the middle of in the middle of one of those baking shows, there's some kind of twist that always happens. Well, the
Mhm.
twist in the game is you don't know when somebody's going to throw down a spoiled ingredient and say butter's spoiled. Now you have to get rid of your butter, and you're going to have to do that
Ah.
again, or someone steals something from you.
Okay. Okay.
So it
Okay.
keeps you engaged with each other.
I see. I see. I see. And how do you come up with the mechanic of the game and the rule? Do you did a lot of like play testing initially, or how do you come up with the idea?
Yeah, a lot of playtesting, a lot of kind of thinking of the statistics of it. I think is the nitty gritty. It's almost the boring part, depending on how much you like statistics and things. But
Mhm.
you've got to find the right balance of you don't want too many steel ingredient cards in the deck, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
want it to be too easy or too hard, and so we started out making a Sharpie deck. You
Mhm.
just take a deck of cards and you write what the cards are on them,
Mhm.
and played like that a bunch and started to get a feel for, okay, here's this type of card works really well. There's way too many of this one, and we just kept playing with our family, and we played maybe every day. I don't know, at least a few times a week
Mm.
for months, and
Okay.
until we felt like we had it really nailed down to something that
Mhm.
that was a blast. And the nice thing is, I think we did a great job, but we get a lot of compliments on it. But
Mhm.
when you get to the end of the game, usually everybody's pretty close. Like a number of times I've played, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, if I just had one more turn, I could have won, but they got it before me. And so it's not one of those games where somebody can just sort of blow everybody away and everybody's just sitting there waiting for the game to end because they know they lost. It's
Yeah.
the twist can change the direction of things, and
Mhm.
um, so it works pretty well like that, I think. We
Yeah,
tried
one
to be
thing I play at my household is we play a card game called Tacos and Burritos. It's kind of similar in a way. I don't know have you two played that game yet. It's also kind of collecting different ingredient cards, try to make a set, and you can do all kind of crazy stuff to each other's car as well. So
Mhm.
Yeah. We tried to be thoughtful in wanting to make sure that it wasn't that nobody could would feel at some point in the game like they have been so far left behind in the game that the game's not even fun anymore.
Yeah, that sounds
And so we wanted to make sure that it was going to be a close enough game that everybody feels like it's anybody's game until the end.
good.
And the other thing that we did too, in addition to playing with our family and our friends, Marty and I each held an event at our local library where we invited
Oh,
people from the community to come
okay. That's always
and
nice.
and just play the game. And we had feedback forms for them to fill out and rate the game and tell us what they liked about different aspects of the game and if there's anything they liked or thought it was lacking. And that way, uh, even outside of our friends and family group, we were able to get that feedback and figure out, really what people were liking and or not liking about
I like the
how things
idea
were going.
for the design itself. How many of those did you done initially?
We did a lot.
Oh,
We
okay.
I think it's really important too because family's really easy to say, "Oh yeah, what you did is great. We love you." So,
They
but
try not to hurt your feeling. Yes.
yeah, we even went to a retirement community, and
Oh,
I
wow.
held an event
Okay.
there where the
Okay.
the retirement community had this little get together. They had a room with a bunch of tables and all these older people playing the game and just
Okay.
laughing. So we got some
Okay.
pictures and got
That's
feedback from
nice.
them too.
Nice.
It was really fun.
Nice. Yeah, that's definitely a very interesting way to engage the community and also get some live feedback. That's a little bit harder. If you don't do those events in person, it's definitely different. And my next question is: when it comes to initially publishing and the game, what are some of the unexpected challenges that you two have faced?
Well, like Marty mentioned, I work in accounting in my full-time job outside of this,
Yeah.
and Marty is in tech. So neither of us really had any experience in this before GoChuckle.
Mm-hmm.
So once we started getting into this, we were learning kind of everything on the fly. We were learning everything as we go. And so, we had to figure out, well, how do you get in touch with a manufacturer? Where do you even go to like find out who they are? And I mean, so we went through lots of like forums and until we found ones that were talking about people and we got in touch with, and it just sort of was like as we learned more about the industry and got to know more people that are in the industry, and it just really took like diving deep into it and combing over it over and over again, and it sort of became another full-time job to learn the ins and outs of that.
Yeah, well, welcome to be a entrepreneur. That's the life of entrepreneur.
Like
Yeah.
the
So,
more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
100%. And by the time you learn something, things change
Yeah.
as well. So, yeah, that's a constant thing. And I think in my our team's research, I think crowdfunding also play a really big part in launching the game initially. Which I was looking at your Kickstarter campaign. You guys were able to raise about $10,000 when you did the Kickstarter. Can you also share a little bit about your experience with Kickstarter and how you approached that, and what was your
Sure.
experience like?
Yeah. So that was also an eye opener
Mhm.
because we'd never done a Kickstarter, and we didn't really we really underestimated what it takes to do a Kickstarter.
Oh yeah,
So
well, I did
that's
one before. Yes, yes, a lot
that
of work.
was a huge
Yeah,
thing. I mean, we did a pretty short timeline
mhm.
from like launching the Kickstarter, to or announcing it, I guess, and then having the Kickstarter period, and then uh, wanting to get the game to the backers. And
Mhm.
so we didn't get a ton of social media and stuff out there. Like we've heard now,
Mhm.
we've learned a lot of people they do like a year of building buzz.
Yeah, building up the buzz. Yeah. That's how you get like 250,000, 500,000, or 1 million plus
Right.
campaign. So yeah.
Well, we did less than 6 months, probably like
Mhm.
4 months of really pushing that we were going to do this Kickstarter. Okay. And then during the Kickstarter, it was a full-time job. I mean, every day just going on Facebook, messaging all the friends I have, friends that I forgot who they were, but they're connected on and telling them about it. And we managed to make our goal and then have a little stretch goal that added an ingredient to the game. We had sort of debated whether or not to do that because, we had talking about the balance of cards. Okay. If you add an ingredient in there, then was that going to make it harder to get the right ingredients and stuff? But we tested and it worked out, and I think it worked out great. Okay. But we had a manufacturer lined up that we were like, okay, as soon as the Kickstarter is done, then we're pulling the trigger and we can, we can have it manufactured because we had most of the graphics and everything were all ready to go. Ready to do. Well, when the Kickstarter was over, we told them, okay, we're ready. And they said, now's not a good time because
oh no,
the Kickstarter was in September. And so the end of September, it's like you're right before the holidays. And we were like, we were telling everybody that we were going to try to get it to them by Christmas. Another thing that we naively
that's a busy season to try to do it.
But we found a manufacturer that committed to it, and we managed to get it to our backers. It was live on Amazon. I think it was like December 13th. We managed.
Good job.
It was.
That was a short window. I see. Yeah. So, what do you learn in the process as far as logistic of getting the game from concept to market? Of course, as designer, finding manufacturer, negotiating the price, MOQ, there's a whole bunch of different things that's involved in the process. But I guess what is some of your major takeaway in that experience?
I would say one thing is that it's probably going to cost more than you thought. Plan for it to cost more than you think it's going to, and then if it doesn't, that's great. But then the better the planning lower and it costs more, and then you either don't have the money or you're
be safe money and sorry, right?
So it's probably going to cost more than you think, and it's probably going to take more time than you think, especially if it's your first one. Once we got our first one out, our second one ran a lot smoother because we already had a relationship with a manufacturer. We already had the logistics of how we were going to get it overseas, so all we had to do was give the information to our logistics coordinator and she shipped it over, so those things went a lot quicker where we didn't have to go find those relationships in the heat of the moment and and plan ahead, because like Marty was saying, we had said we wanted to get those to our Kickstarter backers by Christmas. In order to fulfill that, we had to airship a lot of it over here.
That is expensive.
Cost.
That's very expensive.
I mean, we could have done it a cheaper way and saved a lot of money, but we wouldn't have been able to fulfill our promise to get it by Christmas time, and we really wanted to do that. So it cost us more, but we really wanted to try to make our to keep our promise. So I would say just give yourself more time and expect it to cost a little bit more, and then the other thing, a third thing that I would say that I don't think that we did a good enough job doing at first is, we got comfortable with our manufacturer and we just sort of stayed there and stopped looking for another one. We stuck with them for a long time, and they were great and they were doing a good job. But we didn't start looking for another one until we had kind of a reason to. And then we found another one that is doing just as good a job or better,
but much cheaper
for a lot lower price. And we were why didn't we find these guys earlier? So there's really no reason that you can't continue to look at other manufacturers and compare them, just because you found one good one doesn't mean you can't find a second good one too. Because what if one of them isn't able to do it at some point in time? You don't want to start looking then.
Yeah, exactly. So, and since we talk about Kickstarter, the next biggest platform that everyone uses is Amazon. What are some of the biggest lessons you have learned about marketing and selling games, especially for a platform like Amazon so far?
Well, that's like a 2-hour subject minimum.
Yeah,
Amazon is a beast, and we're still learning. I mean, we're still definitely finding things that we're doing wrong and that we need to do better. You know, and so things like the child's certification. I forget what it's called.
CPC, children product certification. Yes,
we didn't have that in the beginning, and we didn't have it for years. And Amazon didn't flag it or anything, and we didn't really know. And then it was the first week of December. Was that last year or the year before? I don't know. They flagged it and said, "Hey, you don't have a certificate," and they took our listing down.
They do that. Yep, they do that.
And we had to scramble and get somebody to get the certificate.
Lab testing,
because that was something, you know, the worst time. 60% of a game company's revenue happens in the last 2 months of the year.
Last 2 months, yes, that's correct. That's 2 months.
And so, you know, we lost out on a ton there. And so we learned a lot from that.
I see.
The whole process of advertising, you know, the keywords and and all those different aspects of it. There's just so much to learn.
Yeah, I think for a successful Amazon, platform management, I talk to my team all the time. There's 4 main pillar. There's design, there's catalog, which is catalog management and making sure everything is up and going. And then there's SEO, which is search engine optimization. Then there's pay-per-click, PPC. You need to do all 4 really, really well in order to be successful. If you miss one, then the whole thing doesn't work. And it's funny, every time I have friends that's asked me what I do nowadays, I say I play in the casino called Amazon. It's like a casino. And the way I like to explain it is just imagine playing in the casino, but you need to, in order to win, you need to not only understand the rules in and out, but you also need to learn how to count the cards. And that is Amazon for you in the casino sense. So, yeah.
That's spot on.
And as so it can be difficult to work with Amazon because if you've got issues or problems that you need to work out with them, their support is very hard to work with. I mean, they have phone support that you can call and you can email with, but it is very difficult to work with their support. So it can be disheartening and kind of discouraging. And at times you can be thinking, why are we even selling on Amazon? Because our advertising costs are so high, we're not even making money or something like that. But even in those times, you know, the other thing that I think about is, unfortunately, selling on Amazon is kind of a necessity also, because when Marty and I approach retailers to try to get them to sell it in their stores, one of the first things that they think about and talk about is, how is it selling on Amazon? Or how are the ratings on Amazon? So, unfortunately, one of the first things that even the retailers will do is they'll go look at Amazon to see how the game is performing. Because they don't want to sell something that doesn't sell to the masses. They don't want to
or have bad reviews too. So reviews also very, very big. So I want to transition away from Amazon and talk about like other activity you guys have tried so far. You mentioned about retail. So how is the retail going so far for the brand?
It's going okay. We're growing. we're growing and growing. You know, we created the game in 2019,
Hmm.
and like we said, you know, it was in Amazon December 13th, and so
Yeah.
then it was 2020, which that's when COVID came.
Yeah.
And so retail stores were all really shaky at that point.
Yeah.
And we got into some retail stores kind of locally, or you know, a couple here and there. And we decided, you know, we just need to focus on Amazon. We only have a limited amount of time. Both of us have day jobs. And so we really put a lot of focus on the Amazon side of things, the online presence.
Okay.
And then in the last year or so, we've started really pushing retail again.
Okay.
And
Okay. Yeah.
so you know, we went to GAMA, the Game Manufacturers Association
Yes.
conference.
Yeah. You went to Gen Con?
We didn't go to Gen Con.
Oh, you didn't go to Gen Con. Okay.
Yeah, it's expensive, and we're still trying to get there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it.
But we've got several stores that have started selling it, and that have had good success with it. And we've got some good big game stores that are having good success with it too.
Okay.
We've got interest from lots of others as well. I don't want to speak out of turn or anything, but yeah, so lots of repeat retail customers that have been saying that it sells like hotcakes, that it sells really well. One of the retailers that sells our store has had our games front and center at right when you walk in their door since they started selling it November of 23. So it sells so good that they have wanted that to be their one of the first things people see when they walk in the door. So
that's good. That's good feedback. That's good feedback. So what is next for GoChuckle? Are there any more new games that you guys are launching this year, or maybe early next year?
Yeah, we've got a lot of ideas, and we've been developing a lot of we have I don't know how many prototypes laying around that we've made. Different ideas as we kind of play with different ones and try to build them out. And it's we want to shoot for a game a year at least. We found that it's really tough having full-time jobs that get really demanding sometimes, and families and everything. So we're really pushing to do that. It was this year was when House Hounds came out, our second game. And so we made Hasty Baker in 2019, so it took a few years to get another one out. But we've got a whole bunch of ideas, and we're not sure. I'm not going to say what the next one will be just yet, but we've got a lot in store, and we hope to become a brand that people recognize, that is a force in the industry.
Yeah, it's always tricky, and I remember when I first started in 2016. For the first 5 years, I also have a full-time job, and I was running my toy business on top of my full-time job, and I was working 70, 80 hours a week. It's just I was working a lot, so I understand the struggle on trying to build a business on top of a full-time career. But it's also good that you have a full-time career, because in case anything went wrong, at least you have something to fall back to. It's a little bit different type of stress when you are doing this like me right now full-time, and this is the only thing I have. So if it doesn't work, then I'm kind of in a very big pickle.
I'll tell you what, though, Marty and I do look forward to the day when we can leave our daytime jobs behind and just focus on GoChuckle only, because
passion, right?
I work as a tax preparer right now, and I like that, but there's a different sense of joy that I get from making games, and people
sure.
rarely come to me and say, "Man, I loved doing my taxes with you this year. That was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait for next year's tax season to come."
Usually
You know,
you're
but
the
we do
motivated
actually
person.
get people that come and say, "We've been playing that game so much. We play it every night. We love that so much. When's your next game gonna come out?" We do hear
Yeah.
that,
Yeah,
and that is so much more fulfilling.
for sure. Very, very different. Yeah, it's funny. Like I shared before the interview, my previous career was also corporate finance. So actually, accounting. Actually, that's my previous career. So I can relate to the number all the number crunching you need to do as part of your career for sure. So as well, wrapping kind of up today's interview, one of the questions I always love to ask for our guests is, if you had to share just one piece of advice with someone who's getting started in the toys and game industry, what would that be? And maybe each of you can share one. So
Yeah, I think maybe I would go with be passionate about it. I know Hasty Baker turned out great and people love the game. You read the reviews and they talk about how they didn't think that, the adults didn't think they would like it, but they ended up just loving it.
mhm,
We put a lot of work and a lot of attention to detail in it so that things wouldn't get in the way of having fun in the game.
mhm,
And we were really passionate about it. And there was tons of hours put into it when we made it. And
yeah,
I think it shows through. If you went into it without that same passion and just wanted to make a game to have extra money on the side or something, it would show in the game
yeah,
and
true.
wouldn't be successful. So it's
Mhm,
the fulfilling part of it, and the joy that comes out of it is really when you put passion into it and put your heart and soul.
mhm, mhm, yeah,
Yeah, I think I would piggyback off of that too, because with we mentioned earlier that Hasty Baker came about from the idea of watching some baking competition shows, and
yeah,
I know that some game designers come up with their games by thinking of the
mhm,
the game mechanics and
yeah,
then applying a theme to it.
yeah,
And we sort of work backwards in that we
mhm.
think of a theme and then we think, how could you play a game that would go along with that
The
theme?
theme. Yeah, I like that.
And
I like
and
that.
that helps us to keep the game something that's like that's
Like relatable.
yeah, relatable, and makes it so that when you're playing the game, it's fun, and like it seems like you're playing that game and not that you're just playing some game that has that picture on it. And
Mhm,
not that there's anything wrong with the other way of doing it,
yeah,
but that's just how Marty and I have found to have that's helped us have more passion
mm,
in the games that we've created. So, yeah, if you can get excited about it and be passionate about it when we're at our booth and we're telling people about the game and we're excited about it, that helps them feel like, man, this could be an exciting game. But if we're just there saying, yeah, we have
yeah,
a baking game, it's $20, take it or leave it, they're like, nah, it's
true,
not as
true.
exciting sounding, right?
100%. Yeah. Yeah. That's a very great piece of advice. So for our listener and the people that's watching on the YouTube channel, where can people find you?
Yeah, you go to GoChuckle.com.
Mhm.
Um, that's our website. You'll find information about Hasty Baker and about House Hounds. Also on Amazon, amazon.com/GoChuckle.
Mhm.
You'll get to our Amazon store and ask your retailer for it. And if they don't have it, have them contact us.
I like that one. So anyway, thank you so much being on our show today. And for the listeners, thank you for tuning in for today's episode of Toy Business Unboxed podcast. We hope you enjoy the conversation and find it insightful and inspiring. If you like what you have heard, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you'll never miss an episode. We really appreciate your support and would love it if you can leave us a review and share the podcast with your friends or colleagues. For more resources, tip, and the latest update within the toys and game industry, visit our website at toy-launch.com. Join the conversation and connect with us on social media using hashtag Toy Business Unboxed. And we'd love to hear your feedback and suggestions for future episodes. Until next time, keep innovating, keep creating, keep bringing joys to toys. This is Jason Shea signing off on Toy Business Unboxed podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.